These are some of the problems on tonight's homework for Chapter 5, Section 8. So the homework's on identifying scale factor and then using scale factor. So what we'll look at is what is scale factor. So basically when we're dealing with scale factor, all it is it's a model over actual. It is a ratio, and when we solve problems, we're going to use that ratio and another ratio to make a proportion to solve for an unknown. And so the key is to remember this formula for scale factor. So we'll write that out. So scale factor is just a model over an actual. So what we need to do is figure out what's the model. So let's take a look at a problem. Well, it talks about an alligator being 175 inches long. A toy alligator is only 7 inches, so that tells me that this toy represents the model, and the alligator represents the actual. And so what we're going to end up doing is writing a proportion, or actually just a ratio. And the ratio, again, goes model over actual. So from there, we just fill in the numbers. So the model is 7. The actual is 175. And then from there, all we're going to want to do is make it a 1 on top. To make it a 1 on top, we're going to divide. And so the way we'll do that is just reduce this fraction by dividing by 7. And so when we do that, we get a 1 on top, which is what we want. We want the model to be 1, and the actual to be some unit, some number. It's going to, in this case, be bigger because the model is bigger than the actual. So we go ahead and do some division off to the side. 7 into 175, and 7 goes in there 2 times. And we go ahead and get 14 with 3 left over. 7 goes into 35. Goes in 5 times evenly. It makes 35, so we get a remainder of 0. So there it is, 1 over 25. And that's the answer. It's the answer they want. So that's what goes on the line here, 1 over 25. And that's the scale factor. So from there, we could end up making another approximation. We can make another toy using a proportion if we wanted to. We'll end up doing that on the word problems down below. Well, here's another example. We have a model. Well, this even says model, so this is a nice problem. The boat is 128 inches, so this must be the actual. So from there, what we're going to do is set up our problem. We've got a model over actual. And when we do this, we're going to set up our fraction, 8 over 128. And then again, just as before, we're going to divide. We're going to reduce this so that our model represents the number 1. And so we're going to divide by whatever the model is, 8. And then just do the division off to the side. So 8 into 128. Well, 8 goes into 12 one time with 4 left over. Goes into 48 16 times. So 1/16. That's our answer. That goes in the answer line. Well, one more here. We've got to figure out which is the model and which is the actual. So the fish, well, that would actually be the actual. The lure is what the fish is going to try to eat. This is going to be the model. And then from there, it's only 2 inches. The fish is 18 inches. So we set up our ratio. And so we've got the model over the actual. And our model in this case is 2. Our actual is 18. And we just reduce that fraction. And so we take out that factor of 2 because we want to make the model 1. And we want to make the actual, whatever it is, when we divide by the model. And this makes 9 in this case. So there's our answer, 1/9. Well, here's where we're going to use that scale factor to actually solve a problem. So you get 3 chances to do that. We'll do number 11 together. So the important thing is to figure out what is the model, what is the actual. Well, here they're giving us the scale factor. And so it says, to start with, I guess we'll start by reading it. It says, on a scale drawing, a bicycle is only 6 4/5 inches tall. The scale factor is 1/6. So right there, we know the scale factor is the model over the actual. So we have 1/6. And so now what we want to do is we want to figure out what goes in the next fraction. So the fractions are going to be the same. We're going to do a model over an actual is going to end up equaling a model over an actual. And so we already have one of the ratios. We have the scale factor, model over actual. So now we just need to figure out, what is this, 6 4/5? Is this a model or is it an actual? Well, reading the first part of the sentence, on a scale drawing. Since it's on a drawing, that means they're talking about a model. Plus, you look at the bicycle, it's only 6 4/5 inches tall, so that definitely tells me that's our model. So 6 4/5 goes on the top of the fraction. And the actual is what they're looking for. Find the height of the bicycle. That's our actual that they're looking for. So we'll put an X down there. Well, when we have these line equal sign line problems, these proportions, we cross multiply. So that's our step we're going to take. We're going to take the 6, multiply it by the 6 4/5. Take the X, multiply it by 1. So here's what we've got now. X equals 6 times by 6 4/5. And so from there, we need to change this to an improper fraction. So the way we do that is we do 6 times 5 plus 4. So I still have this 6 over 1. And then the times by 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 gives me 34, all over the divisor of 5. So again, I went 6 times 5 is 30, plus 4 gives me 34, and it's over the divisor of 5. Well, from here I need to multiply, so I go ahead and multiply 6 times 34. Well, 6 times 4 gives me 24, and then 6 times 3 gives me 18, plus 2 gives me 20, and it's all over 5. So off to the side here, I need to do some division, so I'll do it up over here. So 5 into 204. And so 5 goes into 20 4 times. Well, that makes exactly 20. So I still have 4 I need to do, but 5 doesn't go into 4. Well, that would be 0 times. So that would make a remainder of 4. So we just write the answer as 40 4/5. So there it is. So our actual height of the bicycle is 40 4/5 inches tall. So I know it's inches because it says that the bicycle, the model, was in inches, so that means our actual height of the bike is in inches, because it doesn't say that our scale factor is anything other than 1/6. So sometimes you'll see a scale factor of like inches to miles, and then you'd have to be careful about what units they're talking about, so that the model would be in inches and the actual would be in miles. But here they're just giving us the scale factor, so we're going to use the same units as the model for the actual. So those are some of the problems. Good luck on tonight's homework.